Okay, I'm gonna get started. I'm putting in chat a link to the news article. It's from ASUU on Get Involved at getinvolved.utah.edu. And so here is the link to the document I'm going to go to go over and everything else that you would need for this. So yeah, if you click on this link, you can follow along. So I'm looking at the ASU general funding guidelines for this school year. And this is all just some information about definitions and such, but I'm highlighted a couple of points that I think are important. And so first off, for your student org to be able to get funding, you have to be in good standing, and you should have completed the training and also the re-registration request, which you have to do every year. You also need a president, vice president, and treasurer, or something equivalent to those three positions. And if you haven't registered, like, I think there might still be some time. I could totally be wrong though. Yeah. And if you're a new club, you get $100 that you can use for the 16-week waiting period, which is about 4 months. So it's kind of one semester, which is a bummer. But you can get funding if you are collaborating with another RSO. And so, yeah, here's some other fun information that's in there. And so we will mainly be getting assembly funds for student orgs. So you'll meet with an assembly representative. There are 4 of them for the College of Engineering. When you fill out a budget request, there's an option that says like assign someone to me, and you just click that button and you can email them or they can email you, and you'll meet. And let it be known that it takes 30 days to get approval or more, because the assembly meets once a month, and at that once a month meeting they approve you, but then after that it takes like more time because it needs to go through more people to sign and approve. And so if you want funding, you got to plan in advance. And there's all this other stuff. And if you get funded for your certain event by ASUU, you need to post it on Campus Connect, which is getinvolved.utah.edu. And you have to put that it was sponsored by ASUU. If you get like t-shirts or stickers, there should be some association to ASUU on that design somewhere. I actually don't know if that's true about stickers, but I know on t-shirts, there should be an ASUU like tag on the back saying that they sponsored it and such. And it's really important that you turn in your receipts within 30 days from the receipt or the day of the event. Otherwise, they won't reimburse it. And also, they don't reimburse taxes. So it's highly recommended that you find some way to get it tax-free, which they recommend going through your own club bank account and like somehow getting it not tax-free. I'm not sure how to do that. In my case, I've always just like ate the dollars that taxes come out to me. Yeah. So, yeah, I got ahead of myself, but taxes will not be reimbursed. I think potentially you could ask your school. So like I'm in School of Computing, you could ask them to help as well. And they might help, and then you reimburse that org or that entity. Yep, cool. So we are all eligible for $3,500 for the 2021 to 2022 school year. And so I will show an example of what we're asking for. So in our case, I'm representing Data Science Club, Women in Computing, and Association for Computing Machinery. And so we've requested some money for stickers, shirts, and tablecloth because we didn't have any of those. So over here, when you come to your club and you click on the 3 tags, assuming the hamburger menu, and assuming that you are listed as a officer of your club, you should be able to view this organizational tools bar. And on there, you can click on finance, and then you want to fill out a budget request, not a purchase request. I made the mistake of filling out a purchase request and like it just kind of gets ignored. So make sure you do a budget request. And so these are my 3 pending requests. I requested $1,095 for t-shirts. And if we click it, it will go through more details. So I asked for t-shirts, and the description I put was, we want t-shirts to advertise and give to our members. And so if we click on additional information, here's like all the roles that you need to have. It's all listed also in that other document that you're referring to. Put your contact information, and then in the budget, you put down what category it goes into. So ours was apparel, the total breakdown. So I wanted 250 shirts at $4.38 each, which comes to $1,095. And that's excluding taxes once again. And then within that, I uploaded a screenshot. I don't know if this will open, but there's a screenshot that I took. New share. Yeah, so here's a screenshot of what I took. I went to the website that's listed for imprint.com. It's one of the like sponsored places to get your t-shirts made, and I put in that we just wanted like 50 of every size. And so with that, I came to this number. That way they can see exactly what it is and where they can go to verify that that amount is an actual number that will get me something. And so yeah, closing that, and then to like go through the whole create request way to do it. So basically all of us will be requesting recognized student organization, and you'll click on assembly. And then I don't know what we need because I think we got everything, but say I wanted pens, and the description would be, we want pens to advertise, but also have something our members can write with, have a supply. I just talked to an assembly rep today who recommended being super communicative, like over communicate what you want with that item. So I talked about how we want to write with them. And then you just have to acknowledge all these. And then you put in your personal information. Okay, well, let me keep going. So I'm just gonna put a fake number. Yep. Data Science Club, I'm a treasurer. So if you've met with someone, you can click who you've met. Otherwise, you can just say have not met one, please connect me, and then they'll email you who a representative is. And then the purpose for this budget is to get pens to help with advertising the club. And then if approves, how will this benefit the students? Students get free pens to write with. And then it's not required to do fundraising, so I always just do NA, but not applicable. Other people might do something else. And then they ask how many members actively participate in the student org. I think it's 65 that we have registered on our roster for this club, but I could be wrong. And then this isn't a request for an event, but if it was, you would say yes. And once again, post the event on Campus Connect. And so now I will add an expense, but real quick, like custom pens. Do a quick search to see how much it is to get custom pens. For Imprint shows up, and I know that that's an approved vendor. And so we'll get the burgundy red. And the minimum is 300 pens. So you could just take a screenshot of this and then snipping tool. If you took a screenshot of this, and I know you can't see me take a screenshot, but save pens. Once you've taken a screenshot, you can confirm Cancel, add item. So we want pens. Description, we want customized pens for data science club to advertise to a club and give members. I don't know what pens are. A supply of something to write with. Yep. And then it said we needed 300 and that came out to be, it doesn't say what the individual pricing is, but we can calculate it. 300 divided by 117. The wrong way, 39 cents each. So then you get 117 and then you upload the pen screenshot you just took. And you can press save. And then you can press submit and it will ask you just to like confirm again. I'm not going to press submit because we don't actually need pens. But when it comes to advertised materials, you just want to make sure that the logo you're going to use has been approved. And I am trying to get back to data science club so that I can show what it looks like to be approved. Gallery. Well, somewhere in here, is it about? There's like a section and it should tell you whether or not your profile picture has been approved or whatever your logo is. And if it is, you should be good to go. You'll get an approval. I think that all of the assembly meetings are on the third week of the month. And so with that, you need to get your bill in 2 weeks before when they're going to meet. And so I think there's a link somewhere that has a calendar of all the days you need to submit in order to be considered for that budget cycle. And so here it is, maybe. Yeah, okay, I'll put that in the chat as well. So to have gotten it or to get it approved for this most recent cycle, which is tomorrow, you should have submitted it by Friday, September 10th. The next one that you could get into is Friday, October 15th, and then you will meet on Tuesday, November 2nd. You'll find out on that day whether or not you got approval. So yeah, going back to this document, there are a couple things that are important. Food will not be covered this school year. So if you're trying to get food like as an incentive for people to come to your events, they won't cover it. The exception to that is if you're like a cupcake club and you're holding a cupcake making demonstration, as an example here, since we're not we're engineering students, you'd have to have a really good reason to get funding for food. And through the college of, depending on your college or your school, I think that it also needs to be individually packaged. So you can't just get pizza. You have to get like sandwiches that are individually packaged, like Uncrustables or cup of noodles to be able to actually give out food. But you can get food from other sponsors. So for my clubs, we go through Amazon Prime Student to get funding for food. So you can reach out to industry sponsors to help with food. And so, yeah, you can get apparel, professional support. When it comes to professional support, if you wanted, like, for example, for finals week, your club wanted to sponsor like a meditation hour, you can actually reach out to the wellness center on campus and they will send someone to host that for you. So you don't need to pay anyone to do it. So look at the resources that we have on campus and see if they'd be willing to do a free workshop. You can get some registration funds reimbursed. So for Association for Computing Machinery, that's the ACM, and there is a research paper organization called ACM, and so ASUU will reimburse up to $40 per active member in the club if they wanted to get that membership, and it's like a $20 membership per person. So that's something. So like if there was like a robotics subscription that might be beneficial. That's something you could go into. Room rentals and equipment rental, you can get that done on campus. The one exception is they expect you to first look through your college and then your go through your school and then your college to see if there are any free alternatives. And a lot of those larger rooms don't allow food. So if you have food at your event, be aware of that. You can get supplies, and equipment should be rented and not purchased. And so an example of that is we tried to get a Nintendo Switch for one of our clubs. I don't remember which one, but they wouldn't let us get one. And so we had to go to the Marriott Library and rent the Switch in order to play video games for one of our opening socials. And I had something else to say on supplies. Oh yeah, okay. So with supplies, it talks about reusable or one-time use. So an example of another situation of what we've done is we reached out to ASUU's sustainability board, and they at one point gave out reusable utensils. It was like a little pouch with a fork and a knife and some chopsticks and a spoon. And so we asked if they had any leftovers or if they were going to get them again. And if they were, like, could we have some for one of our events? And so we're in the process of getting reusable utensils for our members through ASUU, but it's ASUU branded. And so a lot of times ASUU has some supplies like that. Like I think they have reusable straws as well that you can ask if you can have some of them. And they're like, yeah, because it promotes them, but also it's good for the environment. And so it's fun to collaborate like that. Once again, they're not paying for food. I remember like 2 years ago, we mainly used ASUU funds for food, but that's not allowed these days. So yeah. You also can't use the funds to get cash awards or gifts or gift cards. So say you wanted to gift a professor some money because they came and took time to speak at your event, you can't do that. You also can't buy them like a box of chocolates using ASUU funds. So yeah. You could gift them like a t-shirt with your logo, your club's logo on it, and that would be, I think, okay. And conflict of interest. So ACM recently got rejected because we tried to get we tried to get funding to get someone to professionally make our logo. And they said that that's a conflict of interest because that individual is a student, and so it's not really a professional service. And so we got rejected for that. So that is a possibility. And so yeah, no alcohol because the U is a dry campus. And yeah, if you have any other questions on that first link that I sent out, you can email this person and ask them any other questions you have. And yeah, some other tips that I got from the assembly rep was be realistic, really think about what you need. If you're getting like bath bombs, why do you need bath bombs? And think about how that really benefits your members. He also recommended to have lots of screenshots and provide links to where you're getting those numbers and to actually know the numbers, and to once again be super communicative and over communicate the purpose of that item that you're requesting, and to also know the number of members you have. Because if you're asking, so for example, in our case for t-shirts, we asked for 250 t-shirts, and on Campus Connect it only shows us as having like 18 students, but on our other document we have like 370 active members. That's not very good. So I would also encourage all of your members to join on Campus Connect and have Campus Connect have a reflective number of how many members you have, because that will limit the amount of material you can get, up to $3,500, but like the quantity of those individual items. So for t-shirts or stickers, the max we could theoretically order at this time is 19. But once we get more of our members signing up, we can get up to that new number. Yeah. Are there any questions?
I came in a little late. Could you show me how you connected to Campus Connect and all of that again to get to your ordering process?
Yeah. You might want to just rewatch the recording though, but if you go to
Oh,
getinvolved.utah.edu and then switch to manage and then click on your club, the little hamburger menu bar,
perfect. Okay.
finance, yep, and then budget requests, create a request.
All right. Well, no, thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions?
Hey, sorry, I also came in late. Where can we get this recording?
I don't know the answer to that.
I will
Okay.
be posting it on the club's page on the COE website.
Perfect. Thank you, Megan.
Mhm.
And I just resent those 2 links that I sent at the beginning, just in case you didn't get them. But those 2 links, it's the news article that has more links, and then a document that has what days you need to submit it by in order to get it approved by. So the bill submission deadline is when you need to submit your request, and then General Assembly is when they vote on it to approve or disapprove your funding. And if you need to make changes, like they'll approve it if you make some kind of change. You have to make that change by the next submission date, and then it will finalize 30 days later, which is kind of a bummer. So plan ahead.
Do you know details about travel? And often our club goes to Idaho or whatever to visit certain facilities and whatever. Do they reimburse just fuel? Because usually we drive because it's just too expensive to do otherwise. But do they reimburse fuel or what all is under that?
I could be wrong, but I don't think they're funding travel because of COVID. Yeah, travel funding guidelines are on hold pending review of new university travel reimbursement requirements.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't actually know though. But
In the
It's okay.
past, ASUU has done some kind of travel funding. I think it's probably pandemic related that those guidelines haven't been released.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think back in the day it was under forms and there was like a travel form. And it was, I think the individual could submit it because as students, we each have like $600 allotted for travel for professional events. But it looks like that's no longer there because of COVID. And I know it wasn't a thing last year. So yeah. Jordy, did you have a question?
Yeah. Do you have an idea if they are going to do something for travel this year? Because I'm part of SHB and we want to attend a national conference in Orlando, Florida. And we are kind of interested in getting that sort of funding for members.
I have no idea. That would be a good question to ask the person who is linked in that first link, who said to contact them for any other questions.
Yeah.
And they're the travel committee chair, so they might have a better idea.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Cool. If there aren't any other questions, once again, I'd recommend you ask Taylor Vandertoolen if you have any other funding questions.